Hey guys, I am happy to share some things today around the mind. Yes, the mind. I've spent so much time trying to think about how I can help my clients overcome some of their challenges, their fears, their obstacles by working with the mind. And the more I study and the more I learn more about the mind, the more I see how powerful I can help everybody to conquer and to achieve their health goals. So today I really want to share about how to conquer your mind, because for those of you that know that it feels a bit like a roller coaster sometimes trying to achieve a health goal that you have. May it be just to have more energy, whether it be to conquer your sleep, to lose weight, just, to have clarity and lose the brain fog, or to drop coffee. It can be like a roller coaster where you think you've got it and then all of a sudden you're back to the old habits. And one of the things that I've really learned is that, our thoughts really create our beliefs, and our beliefs create our actions. And where do those thoughts come from? The mind. So I want to talk a little bit around that today. So one of the most amazing things to understand about the mind is that the mind does exactly what you tell it. So I'm always correcting myself when I say things like, oh, I'm just so terrible at my accounts, or, stuff like this, because I know that what I'm actually saying is that I'm not good at accounts, and therefore how can I be good at something when I keep on telling myself that I'm not good at it? You know what it's like when you've told yourself something a million times. You're not then all of a sudden really amazing at it. If you believe you're a shy person, you don't all of a sudden walk into a party and you're the soul of the party, because you keep on reminding yourself that that's who you are, so that thought becomes a belief and therefore displays in your actions. So in conquering the mind, we have to be very, very, very conscious that the mind does exactly what it tells us. And therefore, there are two parts to the mind. There is the conscious mind and there is the subconscious mind. And what do I mean by that? Is that imagine you have a computer, and that computer gets given a program so it knows how to operate. Now, that program is literally our thoughts and our beliefs, and that computer is our mind. So we really have to be aware that some of those programs have been put in there since we were a child. And those thoughts, those beliefs, those programs that have been put in are literally now how our conscious brain acts. It acts from those programs that have been installed a long time ago. So if you've not done the work around what were those thoughts, what were those beliefs, what are the programs that have been installed into my mind, then you might not realize that the actions that you take every day, the patterns of bad behavior, the habits that lead you to downfall are a result of the programming. So if we know that, when we read a book, when we watch TV, when we sit in a lecture, when we're at school, all of that is conscious learning. Yeah, someone talking to us and then absorbing that information. But the subconscious is really where the mind goes to when it's not sure what to do. So what's happening in the subconscious, what we've learned in the subconscious, those beliefs and systems can come from other people, and we may not even be aware that they exist if we don't do the work to understand why we have certain patterns of behaviors and certain things that we do and where that really comes from. So a good example may be that maybe you realize that it's the snacking that is creating a bit of a self-sabotage for you, but you don't really connect to when you're snacking. If you connect to when you're snacking, maybe you'll identify that it's a moment of stress, and as soon as you get stressed, or as soon as you have to deal with an emotion, that the food becomes the comfort, and then you reach for the food instead of dealing with the emotion. Then if you take that back and you think back to, when did food become something that I use as a cushion instead of actually just, accepting the emotion and feeling the emotion and being aware that I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm feeling angry, and accepting that. Then if you don't take that moment back to thinking about where that came from, you won't do the work that you need to understand where that root stemmed from. When was the time in your life when food became a cushion for something that you had to deal with? So then that becomes implanted in the subconscious brain, and our actions then are played out as a result of what's in that subconscious brain. So what's really, really powerful is that the amazing thing is that you change the thought, you change the belief, you change the action. And I have talked about this before, because it's amazing when you know that you can change it if you get to the root cause of the problem. So in order to change the thought, one of the ways to do that is to access the subconscious brain. Now, the key thing is the subconscious brain is actually mostly activated by the age of 0 to 7. Because at the age of 0 to 7, our brain is in what we call theta. And at theta, our brains are like a sponge. So at that point in our lives, we have no previous memories, no previous ideas, no concepts or behaviors to have gone by. So what we do from the age of 0 to 7 is, as a child, we absorb everything that we see and hear around us. Usually that comes from our parents, because obviously they're our first carers. So we have to think back to, what did they teach us as a child? What did we learn? Or even teachers, or our main carers between the age of 0 to 7, because that's when our brain is really in theta, and that's where a lot of our subconscious beliefs now came from. But another time where we can access the subconscious, when the brain is in theta, is actually that moment when we're a little bit dozy before we fall asleep. Or some of you that hopefully still dream will know that time when you wake up from your dream in the morning and it still feels like you're in a dream. You're something between awake and in your dream. That's also the time when you're in theta. So these powerful times are also times to implant new thoughts into our subconscious. So one of the things that I've done is I've actually done little recordings for myself, and I've played those recordings as I fall asleep. I've listened to YouTube videos around powerful things that are ideas of suggestion, and that can be around health, around wealth, around love, around abundance. And I've listened to those as I've fallen asleep, because I know that those thoughts are going into my subconscious and reprogramming how my mind works. Another way is hypnotherapy. And I take a lot of the knowledge that I know to this day from a very successful woman in this field called Marissa Peers, who shares a lot of thoughts around what I'm talking about now when it comes to accessing the subconscious mind. So we know that we can change our thoughts by accessing the subconscious mind. We know our thoughts are driven by what's in the subconscious mind. We now know opportunities as to when we can access that. So the key thing is to focus on, once you've identified a pattern, once you identify that's coming from something that's set in our subconscious, by finding opportunities to replant new ideas into our subconscious brain. So what is the new idea that you might want to put into your subconscious brain today? What is the new thought that you want to implant for your health goals that you have for yourself? What is the new idea? What is the new belief that you have? What is the new ritual that you want for your life in terms of creating health and knowing that health is really, as I say, really is the true wealth? What is the new ideas that you're going to come around with today that you're going to slowly start programming into your subconscious brain by talking to your brain about what the new belief is? So what is that? Is it, you know what, every single morning, because I love my body and because I know that my body needs really, really good nutrients and food is medicine, in order for me to have a body that I want and in order for it to work in its optimal state, I only have healthy breakfast. Maybe it's in order for me to get the energy that I need to be successful in what I do, to be able to give to the relationships around me, I always make sure that I average 8 hours sleep every night. But whatever that belief is for you, keep on telling yourself it. Keep on telling yourself it, because the mind does what you tell it to. And by telling yourself it, what you're actually doing is reprogramming your subconscious mind. And by doing that, I know you're going to have so much more success in achieving your health goals. So I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear, what is the new idea that you want to plant into your subconscious brain? Or what is the idea that you have now that you want to swap? Because maybe I can help you in the comments below in terms of sharing where you could replace it with something that would be much more powerful. So you also know that the best place to find me is over at my website, which is now a new site, and that one is 𝐓𝐫𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 sign up for my newsletter, because that's where I share a lot of my ideas, my recipes, and the things that just really are generally going to support you in terms of your health goals. If you're part of my Facebook group, my private Facebook group, 𝐓𝐫𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐻 Health Support Group, then this is also a private group that we can share ideas in a more intimate space, where I can support you on your journey as well. So I look forward to listening to what you have to say around this topic, seeing your comments. So please do write a comment or share this video with somebody that you think may need some support in terms of accessing their health goals in a different way to maybe how they're struggling with it today. Thanks, guys.